There is a site that is much older than Gobekli Tepe. It bears many similarities and is 300 kilometers away. The site itself could very well have been built by the ancestors of the builders of Gobekli Tepe, as it's nearly 1,000 years older. Not even half of this site has been excavated yet, so hopefully in time, further excavations will give us more knowledge of not just the potential ancestors of Gobekli Tepe, but also more clues to humanity's mysterious past. Join us today as we will be digging up the secrets of Boncuklu Tarla. Archaeologists have little doubt that Boncuklu Tarla predates the famous Gobekli Tepe by almost 1,000 years, stunning the historians of long-lost civilizations and the history of humankind. Furthermore, Boncuklu Tarla, meaning bearded fields, is a little outside of the northern edge of the Mesopotamian Fertile Crescent, the cradle of civilization, indicating not only that the potential origins of human village society was in the northern highlands, but also that it is further east of the Gobekli village corridor in southeastern Turkey. This may just very well mean that the area around Boncuklu Tarla was the very beginning of village society, around 12,000 years ago, and that the people or culture of the area eventually moved 300 kilometers west to Gobekli during a 1,000-year interval. This would seemingly mean that these people brought their religious beliefs and architectural knowledge with them. Why they did this remains a mystery. Ergu Koda, forgive me if I mispronounced that, an archaeologist at Boncuklu University and advisor on the dig said, "We have identified examples of buildings which we will call public area, temples, religious places in Boncuklu Tarla that are older compared to the discoveries in Gobekli Tepe." Boncuklu was discovered in 2008 in the Dargachit district of the Mardin province near Ilisu Dam, and excavation began 4 years later in 2012. There's a reason the site is called Beaded Fields, according to Koda. More than 100,000 beads were found in the graves of approximately 130 individuals. The beads are embedded or strung together in complex ornaments, obsidian and flint blades, indicating a rather sophisticated understanding of crafting. In more than a decade of excavation, archaeologists have found so much more, in remarkable detail, such as stone walls with mud fills and buttress support systems, which were also used in Gobekli and other recently discovered sites in the region. There are also the highly recognizable straight stone and T-stone monoliths that rise up to 7 meters tall that offer zero structural practicality, making their purpose appear to be perhaps spiritual or religion-based. Many of the monoliths are the first known steles with ornamentation inscriptions. Ibrahim Zoshar of Boncuklu University says of these stele monuments that it is possible to consider this as a finding that proves the first settlers in the area were believers. But of what? If we examine the Boncuklu Tarla village itself, we notice that it comprises of 4 types of communal space for its inhabitants. Number 1. A rectangular communal building referred to as a temple by archaeologists is located in the center of the complex and was perhaps used not just as a gathering place, but as a center of worship. Number 2. Several houses of varying sizes and shapes surrounded the communal building. The houses are mostly circular and somewhat rectangular, though the communal building is the only true rectangular structure, a shape that was just beginning to take hold in early civilizations. Number 3. Storage spaces for communal belongings. And number 4. Open spaces for gathering. On top of the Boncuklu site, subsequent civilizations inhabited the area over the intervening thousands of years, including the Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, Hittites, Urartians, Romans, Abbasids, Seljuks, and Ottomans. But it is the original Boncuklu village that perhaps most fascinates archaeologists because of its insight into the origins of centralized living, sophisticated crafting, structural building, and religious representation. So, yes, we're pretty much saying that Gobekli Tepe is no longer the first known location of centralized living, which is a huge deal. Koda further elaborates, this is a new key point to inform us on many topics such as how the people in northern Mesopotamia and the upper Tigris began to settle, how the transition from hunter-gatherer life to food production happened, and how cultural and religious structures changed. Coda says that the main communal structure is of particular interest. The building unearthed has features that we think are related to faith due to both its architectural features and the finds inside. There are steles inside. There are both columns of stone mesh and there are buttresses. Its base is limestone carved into the bedrock in places. It has hearths and altars inside. In addition, we can see that the heads of bulls were deliberately left inside some altars. That's why we start to think more intensely that these and similar buildings could be related to the scope of belief in the field with Boncuklu Tarla. All of the architecture, crafts, spaces, monoliths and shapes can also be found at Gobekli, 300 kilometers west. But, well, perhaps a bit of the luster is off Gobekli because it is no longer the oldest village to have ever been discovered. However, Gobekli Tepe, which was discovered in 1963, still holds high status in the world's archaeological community, especially when it became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2020. But Boncuklu Tarla still does give us more insight as to where these likely groups of people were inhabiting before erecting Gobekli Tepe. Furthermore, Boncuklu Tarla may have actually had something that even Gobekli didn't have, or at least wasn't found. Boncuklu Tarla had an actual window in one of the community building walls. It's made of circular stonework and it is the oldest example of an actual window in the history of mankind, according to archaeologist Dr. Yunus Sifci, vice president of the excavation. Sifci elaborates on this extraordinary find, comparing it to other similar villages that have been excavated. Especially the three niches on the eastern wall caught our attention as very interesting finds. This is the top entry, often found in Gobekli Tepe, a sun cave and other settlements, but usually related to the roof structure. However, with this building at Boncuklu Tarla, we have revealed that it is embedded in the opposite wall and used as a window. The round stone window we uncovered is currently the only known artifact from this period. The discovery of pottery in the Middle East was still another 3,000 years down the road from the time of the Boncuklu Tarla establishment in southeastern Turkey. But that doesn't stop archaeologists from being enthralled by these mysterious early people, as humans began exploring the meaning of life from a spiritual perspective and the necessities of organization and order in a chaotic life. And it's the discovery of Boncuklu Tarla that almost begs the question, are there still unknown early villages yet to be discovered, perhaps dating even further back in history? How much further? When exactly did humans build their first sophisticated community gathering spots and establish monuments to their spiritual beliefs? And most importantly, was Boncuklu Tarla home to the original builders of Gobekli Tepe? Maybe, just maybe. Time will tell.